And a big thank you to Desert Financial Credit Union for sponsoring our KRIM Community Spotlight Program. Good morning, Payson. Chris Higgins in the studio. Hope you're having a wonderful Wednesday morning. Had to think about it a little bit, what day it was. It's hump day, middle of the week. So again, hope you're having a great morning. This morning, we are going to be talking with a couple representatives from APS. We have Public Affairs Manager Janet Dean in the studio. Good morning, Janet.
Good morning, Chris.
And also the Northeast Division Manager, Joe Weathersby. Good morning, Joe.
Good morning, Chris. How are you?
Good. So, Janet, I have to say you're a very familiar face, I believe, here in Rim Country. You've been the Public Affairs Officer for this area for how long now?
Almost 9 years. I've been coming down and helping serve the Payson community for APS. I love it. I'm here a lot. In fact, I was checking into my hotel last night and she said, "Oh, you're here a lot." Yeah, they upgraded your room, which was a nice surprise.
Very nice. You're here a lot. That's right. Well, you know, almost the same time that in length of time that I've been on council. So I know I've really, over the years, appreciated you coming to council meetings, giving updates, just sharing information with the town on what APS is doing, different programs, and really keeping those lines of communication open between APS and the town. So that's been great.
Well, thank you. It's something I really enjoy. I love working in small towns throughout the northeast part of the state, and Payson is up there on my favorites list for sure.
Oh, hey, there we go. So we rank pretty high. That is good. We like Payson, yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, it's a wonderful little town. And so you know a little bit about Payson, don't you, Joe?
I do, Chris. So I was actually raised here in Payson. This is home. So every time I come back here, it feels like coming back home. I was, a Longhorn. Go Payson.
There you go.
And really enjoyed the town as a whole. Know a lot of folks here. Like I said, the hometown feeling, for me is from being from here, but the hometown feeling that I think a lot of people experience here in Payson is the people that, come in here as tourists or as visitors, passer-throughs. Payson's always a very, hospitable place. It's a place where, people are here to help. You don't see too many people on the side of the road in Payson waiting on somebody to help them.
Mm-hmm.
And that says something about a community.
Mm-hmm. That's so true. And how fortuitous, my hat that I wore today wore my Longhorns, and look at the hats that Payson Tire and Automotive, Brian Bowman made for, not just for the football, season, but he's a big football fan. His boys play on the football team, so.
It's a great hat.
Yeah, I know, I have a couple of them. I had to buy a couple because they're so good. And it'd be great to hear from people on our Facebook page. Again, if you're listening on the radio, you can also watch on our KRIM FM Facebook page as well, because we are streaming live this morning. So APS, one of the things, an event that is coming up that it'd be great to talk about, let people know about, is the APS Open House.
Sure. So we are having an open house on August 1st at the casino, and this is a customer service open house where our customers can come in and have some face-to-face time with some of our team. Mm-hmm. And it's really designed to try to make sure that we can answer customers' questions, we can make sure they're on the right rate plan. We have a whole variety of assistance programs to help our customers. And what we struggle with is making sure that everyone knows there are programs there to help them pay their bill, help them save on their energy. And we're hoping through these open houses that we're doing across the state that we are able to connect people to the assistance they need and ways that we can help. Everything from crisis bill to regular monthly discounts. So that's what this open house is about. We're hoping customers will come see us. Mm-hmm. Again, August 1st from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. at the casino. No registration required. Just drop in and spend some time visiting face-to-face with our team. And let us see what we can do to help you. We can see if people are on the right bill plan for them. Mm-hmm. Find, what makes the most sense for the way they use energy. Do we see anything with the way they're using energy where we can give them some tips to help save on their bills? Do they have some needs? Do they have the need for life-saving medical equipment? And are they on a special plan we have that can help there? Could they benefit from our energy support program where if they qualify financially, they can get a discount off their bill? What often surprises people is that you can earn a significant amount of money per month, but depending on how many people in the household, you might still qualify. So we just want to make sure that our customers are connected to us and that we can answer their questions.
Now, do people need to bring a copy of their bill to that, or to the open house, or can, you know, someone, a representative, look their information up, their bill up, just by phone number, name, and so on?
We'll be able to look up their information. We
Okay.
will be connected into our system and we can dig in and pull up their account. However, any documentation that they bring, if they bring a bill, makes it easy. We've got their account number right there. Fast way for us to find it. If they think they might qualify for some of our assistance programs, if they can bring a couple months of pay stubs or their last federal tax return, that can help us also get them qualified that day. And because it's not just going to be APS representatives. We also are bringing some of our partner agencies who actually administer some of our assistance programs for us. So Gila County Community Services will be there with us. And sometimes for crisis bill assistance, for example, somebody's faced a one-time issue that is impacting their ability to pay their bill. We can connect them to some money right then. They can actually get them qualified day of if they bring the right documentation. So another thing that's interesting for our tribal customers is tribal members living on their reservation there's a federal tax exemption, and we want to make sure that all of our tribal customers who qualify are getting that benefit also. So with that, we just ask for, we need to know their tribal identification number or enrollment number, and then their and that they are the account holder.
You mentioned Gila County and assistance from, I know, one of the organizations or offices, Community Action Program. So
Exactly, that's who will be there.
Yep, Elsa Bobier, she's always sending information out, getting information on different assistant programs, whether it's electricity, rent, other utilities. So a great resource for people that do need assistance. And I think that is the biggest hurdle, is connecting or getting people that need that assistance connected with the organizations, the agencies, the programs that can provide some assistance.
I couldn't agree more, Chris. Those connections and just knowing what programs are available, and it's okay to ask. It's okay to say, hey, this is what I'm facing right now. I need some help. And that's one thing that I love about APS is we'll dig into that with you. Our call center, these open houses, we'll dig into any customer's individual circumstance and see if there's a way we can help or if we know someone who can help them. We hope people can come to this open house and visit with us in person on August 1st. But if you can't, that's okay. Just call us because that absolutely will. You'll get the same service, you'll get the same commitment to caring and trying to dig in and find issues. I mean, I had an example of a customer in another area of the state who needed some help. And it ended up being, he had a panel on his home that was bad. That's a customer-owned panel. And he was struggling on how could he replace that. He was just outside some of the, financially made a little bit too much for some of the assistance programs, but our team dug in and we actually found another pot of money and were able to help him.
Wow.
And he's a retired military veteran, disabled, and was worried about keeping his family warm during the winter, and we dug in and helped him. And so that's what this open house is about. How can we help connect our customers to assistance if they need it?
That's great. So again, the open house is Tuesday, August 1st. From 10 to 2 p.m. at the Mademoiselle Hotel and Casino in the event room?
In the event room, yes, sir.
Okay, great. So, it's really good, Joe, just hearing about your connection to Payson, just, being born and raised here and going to school here as well. And just, do you feel or do you see how that just makes a difference in your position?
It does. Being raised in the environment, as we just discussed, right? The no one on the side of the road theory, right? Everybody's helping everybody. That gets intertwined in you, and it's easy to care for others. It's easy to, have that sense of, hey, I do care about these other people, and I want to make sure they're okay. Small towns have that ability, and they have those people, and they teach those lessons without even trying. So in this role, I have several small towns that cover the Northeast, not just Payson, and a few big towns in a city or two. And I can tell you the approach that you learn growing up in a small town like Payson has afforded me well through all those endeavors, regardless of where I'm at, because when you genuinely care about the outcome for somebody else, it's easy to want to dig in, much like Janet's example. Our customer service reps, to dig in and find that bucket of money, if you will, doesn't happen very easily. There's a lot of work that goes into that. But at the end of the day, a solar panel was replaced and a family was warm. That was the right thing to do.
Yeah, and it's very rewarding when you can do that, when you can help somebody that needs that assistance and connect them with those resources. So something that we saw here recently, monsoon season. The weather, some lightning strikes. I know we were traveling back from Colorado this weekend and coming down off the rim, saw some crews responding to a lightning strike right there on the edge of the rim, and just seeing on Facebook there were other lightning strikes around the area. So the weather, monsoons, wildfire season, our winters, those are all, they provide challenges for APS, don't they?
They definitely do, but I do have to say, being Northern Arizona girl, I bring it on monsoon. We need that. We need that rain. The lightning strikes we could do without, but we preparing for those weather events is something that we do as a company year round, and we're constantly focused on how can we be in the best position to serve our communities, make sure we keep them powered up, that our service is reliable. So we're looking at that year round, and that's really where Joe and his team comes into play.
Absolutely, Janet, and thank you, Chris. So, Arizona has quite a few wildfires, and sometimes the amount surprises people because they'll see 1 or 2 or 10 in their region. But, year to date, we have 922 total fires that have burned in Arizona for just over 115,000 acres.
Wow.
And when you put that into perspective, 556 of those were human caused. 63 were lightning.
Wow.
303 were, under investigation or still unknown causes. And the reason we track and trend that is to identify what can we do to harden our system. When you're driving up towards Pine and right there at the plateau before the landfill, you'll see our pole line that jets across the road there, the highway. If you look, there's a black netting on the bottom 12 feet, and you wonder, what is that? Well, that's actually a fire-resistant barrier that will prolong the life of that pole if it's involved in a fire. So we don't lose that pole and lose power to a community, or make us shut that line off maybe a little prematurely to add duration to an outage because we know the poles are hardened and they're ready to work.
Well, and something also, just all the fire mitigation. Really, I know I've noticed, and I'm sure a lot of other people have noticed over the years, just all of the clearing that has occurred around power poles and the lines. It wasn't always like that, was it, Joe?
It was not, Chris. We've been clearing our lines of vegetation for many years, but the poles that have devices on it, a device that could potentially spark. We started a program, and the acronym is DSAP, and that's Defensible Space Around Poles. Fairly simple, but it makes sense to your point, where we clear 10 feet radius around a pole that would have equipment on it that could generate a spark. And by doing so, we create a mitigating factor that wasn't there in place before. Was fire can either burn up to us and not to us, into us, and if we, by an unfortunate stance, drop a spark off one of those devices, we're not going to start a fire. It's being good stewards, not only to the state, but to the communities we serve. Delivering power, there's a risk in the fire space there, but if we can manage that risk and work with the communities to clear the areas that need to be cleared, and explain our different protocols for how we operate the system during elevated fire conditions, that's where the win is, and that's where these platforms, such as you're allowing us today, gives us that opportunity to speak to those things, so the customers know it's not APS taking longer to turn on the power. This is what APS is doing to support fire mitigation in the area.
And you mentioned taking longer, and that's one of the messages that you've really been getting out there in the last few years, is why it might take a little longer to restore power, and there's a very good reason for that, right, Janet?
There is, and Joe mentioned that there might be a little bit longer power outage. Well, the reason being is, as he said, there's an inherent risk in electrical infrastructure through a forested area. And when there is a heightened fire risk, we actually turn some equipment off on our lines. And it's equipment that's designed to quickly restore power. And when it's middle of the winter and we have something interrupt the power flow, our system's designed to try 3 times to restore that power and see. And that might be one of those momentary blinks that you get where you just have to go annoyingly reset your microwave, the clock on your microwave. What happened there is a momentary power outage, something interrupted it, and our system restored itself quickly. During heightened fire times, we turn that ability off. We do not want our system trying to restore itself, because maybe it was a lightning strike and nothing was damaged and it just caused an interruption. But what if it was that line on the ground and it sparks when we try to restore it, and that is the start of something? We never want to have that happen. So we turn that equipment off. It means it's not trying to restore itself automatically, and it means we won't turn the system back on until we've patrolled and we've seen and figured out what is the cause. Is it something that is dangerous if we try to restore it without fixing it? Sometimes we find nothing, because it was that bird that might have brushed by, or the mylar balloon that floated on by. Who knows? The tree branch that brushed it. We don't know. But until we know there's not a risk, we're not going to turn the system back on this time of year when there's heightened fire risk. And so we ask for our customers' patience. We ask for them to understand that we don't like it when they're out of power. We want their power restored as quickly as possible, but we're only going to do it in a safe way.
Absolutely. When you talk about resetting the microwave clock, I thought back to the days when the VCR clock, the clock on the VCR, or your alarm clock, and when there would be power outages during the night, and your alarm wouldn't go off because your alarm clock went off, and then you wake up to a flashing alarm clock. You're like, oh, what time is it? What time is it? Go for your watch, try and
We've all been there.
Yeah, well, not if you're in your 20s or 30s.
That's true.
That's true. Everybody above that.
Yeah, thinking about how different the conversation would be, or like the thoughts, would be if we were all in our 20s and never experienced the digital alarm clock next to the bed, and power going off in the middle of the night. There's also, wanted to talk about APS Supply My Class, which is an opportunity for teachers at Title I schools in APS service territory to win money for classroom supplies.
Yes, this is a program we've been doing for several years now, and it grew out of our desire to, we really looked and said, what can we do to help teachers? There is so much that they are tasked with, and there was a study that came out that highlighted how much money teachers were spending out of their own pocket to supply their classrooms, to be able to do what they'd like to do for their kids. And we thought, well, what we can help here. Here's a place where we can help. So Title I schools, which are tied to, I believe it's a federal financial designation around the students in the school, and I think it's tied to how many need free lunch or qualify for free lunch. But in our rural districts, that's almost all of the schools. So we have set up a program where teachers, all they have to do is go in and fill out a 30-second application, basically their name, what school they're at, the address of the school, and submit it. And then we do drawings, and we give out about $250,000 a year in aid directly to teachers. And they'll get $500, they can win a $500 award that they can use to buy what they need for their classroom.
Wow.
And we love this program. We love to have teachers apply. The more teachers from a community that apply, the more times people like Joe and I get to walk into their classroom and say, guess what, you won. And we want to be in Payson as often as we can. Teachers can apply up through August 13th.
Okay.
They just go to supply-my-class.com, and like I said, it's really a 15-second to 30-second application. That's all it takes to get in the running.
And teachers need to apply. They're the ones that need to do that. It's not a case where a parent can recommend a teacher, but the teacher themselves need to apply.
We want the teacher or their school or their principal. We have some schools where the principal just applies for all their teachers.
Gotcha.
Individual teachers can do it. We just need as many to apply as we can because we want to be in schools in our division as often as we can. That month we're going to give out awards, drop into schools to surprise teachers over the month following August 13th deadline.
What a great surprise.
Very important stuff. Because, super important. Teachers play such a vital role in any community. And, their paychecks don't always support, the additional monies that they spend on the kids in their class because they care. And they want to make sure that those things, whatever those needs are fulfilled for those students. And this is something I look forward to every year. Janet knows that. I'm like a kid at Christmas. I love going to those schools and giving the checks to the teachers. But most importantly is watching how proud the kids are of their teachers and that culture and that relationship. Teachers are just so important.
Oh, they are. They are. And it's so important to be investing in the youth in our community. And one of the areas, just want to recognize APS and point out that if any of you have children, that playing in Little League or you're utilizing the Diamondback fields here in Payson, APS is a partner with the Diamondbacks, and you helped buy and bring in those scoreboards and the fences and improving those fields that we have right here in Payson. So that was great. So really thank you for that.
Oh, you're welcome. That was a wonderful day when we got to all stand out on that field with our Diamondback legends and dedicate those fields.
I know. I remember that. Luis Gonzalez and
Randy Johnson.
Randy Johnson. That's right. Yeah, that was a great day. And, a lot of effort by Payson Little League, Barb Rasmussen, who was president at that time, and everyone involved with the Little League. But it's great when you see those collaborations, those partnerships, and organizations, businesses coming together with communities and doing projects like that have a really big impact on the community.
Absolutely.
So that is good. Again, August 1st, that's Tuesday, August 1st, is the APS Open House from 10 to 2 p.m. at the Mademoiselle Hotel and Casino in the event room there at the casino. You don't have to bring your APS bill, but if you do, it makes it a little bit easier for the representative to look up your account and your information. Also, if you have any supporting documentation, if you think that you might qualify for different programs or services, it doesn't hurt to have pay stubs or different information with you. But if you don't bring that, you will be able to be told that there's a program that you might qualify for, that process can be started, and you can find out information about that program or service. So you definitely want to attend the open house that APS is putting on Tuesday, August 1st, 10 to 2 p.m. at the Meadows Hotel and Casino. All right, well, thank you both so much for coming on this morning. I like that. It's 10:30.
Thank
Thank
you.
you, Chris.
Oh, you are so welcome. And thank you, everyone, for listening and watching today. Hopefully, you continue to have a great Wednesday. It is still warm out there and going to stay warm this week, but the temperatures are coming down, so that is a good thing. So time to get back to the music here on KRIM, and let's see what is coming up. We have some Cake, Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers, and Steve Miller Band. But first, let's get a quick update from the National Weather Service. There you go. That's perfect. All right.
How long have you been doing it?
For a few years. Hey guys, see you later now.